across from the carousel, pop by or any place on the Harbor Walk to do a stand-up or take photographs. And we have friends who will be escorting you there as soon as the conference is over. Also, when the conference is over, we have a group of subject matter experts who are available for one-on-one interviews, and I'll just introduce them to you. And first and foremost, I'd like to introduce Roger Thomas, who is the head of our wind design, and so Roger is responsible virtually for the way everything looks inside this magnificent building. We also have with us Chris Gordon, who is the president of Wind Development and Chris was in charge of all of the site remediation and the living shoreline that we put together, so he can answer questions on that. We have Eric Hansen, our Chief Sustainability Officer. We have probably the most robust sustainability program of any of our resorts here at Encore Boston Harbor, and probably of any major casino resort in the United States. So Eric is a wealth of information about that. We have Warren Richards, who is our Executive Director of Food and Beverage. So Warren, along with his team of chefs who are also here, was instrumental in selecting the restaurants, designing the restaurants and the menus, and is a marvelous dining professional to ask questions of. We also have Jim Folk, who many of you know, our Executive Director of Transportation. And if Mr. DeSalvio's extensive discussion of transportation on Wednesday was not enough for you, and I'd like to know who you are if it wasn't, Mr. Folk can answer more questions for you. And then we also have Patrick Chadwick, our Director of Horticulture and Floral. And Patrick, in conjunction with Lifescapes, was responsible for the design and the construction of all of our floral that you see outside. So they will be available in here. You are absolutely invited to do anything you want around those areas that I spoke of. On Sunday, we will be here until 11 o'clock tonight. The filing room that we have available for you, which is in Renoir, is also available to you. And Rosie Salisbury, who is actually the person in charge and runs PR, has told me there's a marvelous dining spread available in there if you haven't already had a chance to eat. We will be there until 11 o'clock tonight if you'd like to file stories or do any more stand-ups until late in the evening. We are also available all day tomorrow and Sunday morning, and we have a media concierge set up in that media filing room. So Kirsten is in there, and she can take any requests you have to come back on property either tomorrow or on Sunday, and we'll accommodate anything you like on those 2 days. So I've talked more than I probably will ever again at a news conference. I would like to introduce our CEO, Matt Maddox, the President of Encore Boston Harbor, Bob DeSalvio, and the Honorable Mayor Carlo Di Maria.
Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you so much to all the members of the media for coming out today. We really appreciate the fact that you're here and spend so much quality time with our team. I'd also like to give a shout out to the team of professionals that Michael just introduced. It has been such a pleasure to work with all of them to produce this wonderful resort. And before I introduce Matt, I'd like to say a couple thanks as well. And that, Matt, to you and the board of directors, thank you so much for all the support. The team here could not have done it without the support. We know that the company has invested a tremendous amount of money, and we can't wait to get to the public in the doors so we can make the return on investment for our shareholders. So thank you for everything. Mr. Mayor, I know you're going to speak in a minute, but again, I want to say thank you so much. We know that the team here could not have done this without you. So again, I wanted to offer my thanks. And most importantly, I want to say that Encore Boston Harbor has received its operating certificate from the Massachusetts Gaming Commission, and we will open at 10 a.m. Sunday morning. And thank you. Today we have Chair Kathy Judd-Stein is in the audience. Thank you for coming out today. We have Elaine Driscoll, who, as most of you know, coordinates all communications and work with the media. Chair, thank you so much. The team was terrific to work with during the preview days. It was a thorough exercise, and our team is ready, willing, and able to open the doors. Thank you for the confidence that you put in us. We're going to make you proud. And so with that, I have the pleasure of introducing our CEO, Mr. Matt Maddox.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it. So, we wouldn't be standing here today if it didn't start with the foresight of the lawmakers of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, understanding almost a decade ago when they passed this gaming bill that this was not about gambling. This is about economic progress and urban renewal. This was about tourism, and this was about large-scale integrated resorts. And it's because of that vision that we're standing here today. We couldn't have accomplished these things without the strong partnership and relationship that we have with the Massachusetts Gaming Commission. And I want to thank them for everything that they've done to get us to this point. And watching all of the Massachusetts Gaming Commission agents work over the last week has really been incredible. They were here till after midnight last night working on our certification. And that partnership is strong, and we're proud to be, we are proud to have them as our lead partners here. Also, this would have never occurred had it not been for the vision of Mayor Carlo Di Maria in the city of Everett. When I actually came to Everett about 7 years ago, it was in November of 2012, and saw this site for the first time, first person from the company to come here, and met with the mayor, he laid out a vision for urban renewal and for an entertainment district right here where we're standing. And it was really extraordinary to sit in City Hall in Everett and hear the passion and all of the, everything that he had dedicated to this and how he believed he could make this happen. And it was at that moment that our company thought this could be the perfect partner to bring to the state of Massachusetts a 5-star integrated resort. As you walk around this place, I'm sure you'll see the craftsmanship is unbelievable. I just have to thank Suffolk Construction and John Fish and his team, the 7,400 construction workers that worked on this site. In fact, we're really proud. Over 7% of all the construction workers that worked on this site were female, which is the largest percentage of any job of this size in the United States. So I've been associated with 5 large Wynn openings of these integrated resorts, multi-million square feet, and this by far from a construction standpoint was the smoothest and the quality was the best. So again, the trades, the craftsmen here in New England are second to none, and our relationship with Suffolk has been terrific. I have to say that the thing that I'm most proud of, and the building is amazing, but the thing that I'm most proud of are the 5,000 plus employees that we've been able to hire. It's over $300 million of payroll that's coming to this community right now. It's a new day for a lot of people. It's a new start. And when you walk around, you're going to see a lot of smiling faces. We have a saying, if you walk through our back of house or if you look anywhere, luxury is not defined by buildings. It's defined by people, because only people make people happy. We believe that our number one asset are our people. Payroll's not an expense in this company. We're not a company that thinks like that. Our people are our asset. And I am so proud of the job that Bob DeSalvio, Brian Gilbrantz, and Jackie Crum have done leading this effort to employ the 5,000 plus people, hopefully going to 5,800 in the next few months. We're still hiring if anybody has anyone looking for a job. But it's been extraordinary, the work that they've done, and we are ready to open to the public this Sunday in what I think will be, or I know, is one of the most anticipated resort openings on the planet. I was in China a few weeks ago. Everyone was talking about Massachusetts. We have 25 journalists coming from Japan in 3 days. This is not just a United States story. This is a global story. and we are here, and we want to make the Commonwealth of Massachusetts proud. With that, I'm going to turn it over to the mayor and let him talk about his vision for the city of Everett.
Good afternoon. I said good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Nice to see you all here today in the city of Everett. Even though we're at Encore, Boston Harbor, we are still in the city of Everett. Mr. Thomas, a remarkable job. I mean, truly amazing. This place is just, this is wonderful. So hats off to you. So I'm going to use this as a warm-up for my ribbon cutting ceremony. So I'm going to just practice a few things on you and see if you like it or not. Matt is right. Back in 2008, I became mayor. I'm born and raised in Everett. I used to bike to Northeastern as a kid and always drive by the Monsanto chemical plant. It was empty, it was barren since I went to school in 1991 to college. And it was empty prior to that. And fast forward, I become mayor and trying to get some economic development going in my community. Met with the Secretary of Economic Development at the time, was Secretary O'Connell, and I said that, I really want to do something great for my city. We're just maintaining. We're not really growing. We're not doing really great stuff. I want to get access to the waterfront. As a kid, I was always on the water, but not the right way. Trespassing. Right? We'd go down to the water as kids, and we were cordoned off from the area. Right? We couldn't. All big industry was all over. They would not, no paths, no open to the sea or to the water. He goes, you ever think about doing a master plan, an urban renewal plan? And I said, not knowing anything about them, because there's not really a book that tells you how to become a mayor. So I said, yeah, you know what, let me look into that. I remember going to Sasaki in Watertown, started the Lower Broadway master plan. From there, created an urban renewal plan, did a water, coast work for CZM and them to do a water plan. And as soon as I worked with residents from the city of Everett for about 18 months. We met, we had meetings. It was a small group of people, and they wanted to see a hotel. They wanted to see a marina. They wanted to see active use in the waterfront. That report was released. I get a call from the WIN team, and the rest is history. There was some other people who walked the site that wanted to maybe possibly look at this, and I said that I wasn't interested. I was only, when I heard the name WIN in the organization, I said, this is a company that I would love to do business with. And to think about it, they spent $70, $80 million to clean up I call it a Superfund site. I don't know if it's ever been deemed a Superfund site, but it was a disaster. It was polluted. It was leaching into the Boston Harbor. They built the living shoreline. They built a 6-acre, community park for the residents. And these were, from day one, the conversations with Mr. Maddox, Mr. Wynn at the time, the team, they were always positive. With Bob, the recent 3-4 years now, Jackie and Chris and the whole team, and I don't want to start missing people, but they bought into my vision of creating this. That's why they acquired, $100 million worth of parcels of land right next door. They bought into the vision that we forecasted, we showed. This is a great area of opportunity for our residents. And they said, Mayor, we want to be a partner. We want a true partnership. And that's what it is. It's actually a true partnership. It's been wonderful. And we're looking at things like gold standard BRT in the city of Everett. We're looking at the pedestrian footbridge that they want to put up $25, $30 million to build. We're working with the Gaming Commission and the state to build a head house to connect our bike paths that we're working on now. You can bike from Gloucester, Nahant, all the way into Everett. And that's going to be a realization within, probably the next year. Right now it terminates at West Street. I don't know if you know where that is, but it's going to be all connected. So they bought into the vision of the city of Everett. We relocated a park, and I know I'm all over the place, right? So we relocated a park where we call Line Street Park. It's across the street from here. It's next to the power plant. They built that park. We never touched it as a city because we were afraid to. We knew it was possibly, not the best park to be looking at, right? We knew it was very had some issues with it, and they built a beautiful park on the Malden River. I don't know how much money they spent, but it is a wonderful facility for the city of Everett. My residents couldn't be happier. 600, 700 of them are working here. I get a chance when I come in to see them. They're beaming. They're so happy. They have a great job for a great company. That's amazing to get a 5-star resort, but not only that, a company that really treats their employees with love and care. That actually really cares about people. You don't really find that in many industries. You find it with this organization, and that was one of the real reasons why I said I wanted to do business with them. And I'm so happy to see that some of our best business owners in Boston, from the Verano Group and Frank, who have Fratelli's and Big Night Entertainment, their product is wonderful. Ed Kane and Randy, great to have them in our community. They're great business people. I had a little meeting with them recently to welcome to the city of Everett. It's just I can't say enough about the whole process. And Commissioner Stein, it's been wonderful getting to know you and the entire Gaming Commission. It's just a great organization. They've been there with the city of Everett from the beginning. We'll be knocking on your door for more money, right? For that, they just spent. We're spending $500,000 to design the head house that will connect the pedestrian footbridge from here over to Assembly Row. That will give our residents true connectivity to the Orange Line. In Everett, all we have is bus service. We had the train station at one time. We lost that. All we have is bus service, and transportation is huge on everyone's mind. How do we get people in and out of this facility? There are ways. One of those is called bus rapid transit. Did I talk about that? If I did, gold standard BRT. But if you see it in Mexico City, you see it in other countries. You can do center lane buses that on street level boarding, heated, air conditioned from Glendale Square of Everett. It could go right down to 99, down Rutherford Ave to North Station. I'm going to work my hardest to get that in place, and I'm going to work with Mayor Walsh, who wants to build up Rutherford Ave and build up the Charlestown neighborhoods. I'm going to work with the Gaming Commission. I'm going to work with the Encore Group, because Encore wasn't always about one building. I was hoping the second building was Encore. So we'll figure what that's going to be called, a palace. So I was always hoping that we'd be. But sorry, we skipped a step. But that's what this district wasn't created by the Encore team. It was created by the city of Everett. We looked at this whole area. You see what's happening across the street, all the buildings coming down, the used car lots, the scrap yards. That's what we would define for many years as that gritty industrial city, right? That had tough guys that played football. We're still tough guys that play football, but we're no longer a gritty city. We're a city that's on the move, that wants to, get a little bit of that hotel business, get that little, just make it a vibrant district, and that's what we're gonna do. And it's a pleasure for me to be here. I don't know how long I'm supposed to talk for, but probably used enough of my time. I'm gonna turn it back over to Matt.
So we're here to answer questions, and that's really what this is all about. Enough with the speeches, and we're really open to answer any questions. Does anybody have any?
Matt, going off what the mayor said about the parcels above, what do you plan to do with those 11 acres of undeveloped property? What do you plan to do with the 11 acres of undeveloped property that you own?
So he's asking about the 11 acres that we purchased across the street from the hotel. I believe there's over 82 parcels that we purchased over the last 4 years. So it's been quite an effort. The idea is that we want to work with the city to create an entertainment district. It's not all going to be our company win. I'm sure that we'll be jointly developing things as we have internally with, as you pointed out, the Big Night group here and other people. So we want to work with lots of local developers, of potentially other hoteliers, convention centers, etc. But our idea, I believe along with the mayor's, is to continue to redevelop this area so that it's known as the entertainment district in the Northeast.
So do you see this as an anchor property?
Yes, this is what happens. You build the anchor, and then all of a sudden everybody looks around and goes, "Wow, look at the opportunity." So it takes vision like the mayor had first, and then now we have accumulated quite a bit of land, and other people are too. And so we're really excited for the next few years, in the next decade really, here at Everett. Yes.
One follow-up on that. Will entertainment include concerts? Usually people come to casinos to hear famous singers, and so your property doesn't have that now. And so do you see in the future that you'll build a concert venue?
There's a future for, we've talked about lots of things with the city of Everett, from arenas to conference centers to hotels, but I'd like for Bob to just answer the specific question about hearing famous singers. Bob, what do you have on tap here in the next few months?
Sure, we're actually doing a private event next weekend where we have invited guests coming in for dinner and a concert with Earth, Wind, and Fire. We have the week after that, Paul Anka doing a private show for our VIP guests as well. We're gonna have our first sporting event July 12th. Working with Ken Casey and Murphy's Boxing for a championship boxing event right in our Picasso Ballroom on July 12th. We're going to continue to look at other opportunities using our current 37,000 square foot ballroom facility. However, there's a second piece to this, and that we are so lucky to be in a city that has wonderful tourism assets right at our fingertips. We already have arrangements with the Red Sox for a wonderful suite at Fenway. They have a tremendous concert series. We have a wonderful box at the TD Garden, and besides the sporting events, they have some of the best concert lineups in the country. We have a suite at Gillette Stadium. They've also developed a concert series there, and then arrangements with the Wedding Theater. And so there are so many great assets. One of the things that we really like about being in Eastern Massachusetts is that there's so many other things for our guests to do. We want them to go out and explore the region, enjoy the tourism assets. We think that will be the key to having them make more trips in the future.
Yes.
What are the best ways to get here? I know that this is going to be a huge draw for people from New Hampshire, and I wasn't at your conference previously on transportation, but right now you've got great plans for the future. Right now, what are the best ways to get here other than driving?
Again, because Bob spent so much time in the mayor on their transportation press conference on Wednesday. Go ahead,
I'll take that one. Thanks, Matt.
Sure.
And great question. Thank you. For example, you mentioned New Hampshire. We're going to be opening on Sunday, Park and Ride, Exit 4 off of 93 in New Hampshire, where you'll be able to get right off the interstate, jump on a premium motor coach. It's a $7 ride. A great way to leave the car back in New Hampshire and ride in by motor coach. So we took that concept. We're going to also be doing that from the west, off of 90 in Millbury, and then to the south off of Route 3 in Rockland. And so there are three great options for motor coach. We have water options available with a premium harbor shuttle. We'll be running starting this Sunday constantly from early morning at 7 o'clock till noon, with shuttle service in the harbor that will go between Encore Boston Harbor, the World Trade Center, and Long Wharf North. Luxury, beautiful luxury vessels that were built by right under the Tobin Bridge. Thank you, Scott. Boston Boat Works, wonderful partner of ours. They build beautiful water vessels for us, and we think the guests will enjoy that. The T is going to be a critical connection for us. Getting off at either the Wellington Station or Malden Center, we're providing free shuttle service for our guests. And then quite honestly, if folks want to just get off at Sullivan Square, it's an easy 10-minute walk. We did a lot of transportation improvements on the roads, including redoing Broadway up and down Everett, rebuilding Sullivan Square, rebuilding Wellington, new traffic signals, time signals, new pedestrian crossings, making sure that we respect ADA accessibility. And so when you look at it across the board, it's on the water, it's buses, motor coaches, it's a neighborhood shuttle system that runs 24 hours a day and now connects us to the Silver Line over in Chelsea. We're really encouraging folks to try something different. Leave the car at home, use mass transit. We got to think differently. It's not all about pavement. We like the use of technology, we like the use of alternative transportation methods, and we're ready, willing, and able to continue to work on those programs. I know it's in the forefront of what the mayor talks about all the time, but we love transportation, as you've heard. Yes.
And what's interesting, last night, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., we invited 7,200 of our closest friends, and they all came. And so this building had 7,200 people in it that all loaded in within a 2-hour period last night, and it was quite smooth.
Hi, a quick question.
Yes, in the back.
Yeah, just are you prepared if the legislature approves sports gambling? Where would it go in the casino? Would you have to build out additional space? And the second part, is it fair to say that Wynn Resorts now supports sports betting in Massachusetts, or at least has less concerns about it?
Yes, we do support that, and I know that the lawmakers are thinking about it and being very careful in the way that can be implemented. If the state of Massachusetts decides to do that, we have identified a place for it. We have a design that we've worked out. We would be ready to move forward if that opportunity exists. Sure.
Can you guys commit or at least comment a little bit on maybe funding the actual construction of a pedestrian bridge from Assembly Square? I know you've committed a lot to the design, but what's our next step with that?
Sure.
Mayor, do you want to?
Sure, I will. I'll go ahead and take that one. We have said all along that there's really 3 parts to the crossing. It's important. One thing, when Matt and I talked about this early on, we didn't want a bridge to nowhere. And so, as you know, the DCR has been working in cooperation with the City of Somerville on redoing Draw 7 Park. It's really important that that connection be made. Otherwise, we would be afraid that folks would go over a bridge and land in an unfinished area. So we think the finishing of that Draw 7 Park by DCR is a critical component. We also feel that if somebody makes the effort to cross over the Mystic River and go through Draw 7 Park, they have to have an easy connection to get up to the T. And that involves crossing over the railroad tracks. So we need vertical circulation. We need to get folks up on both stairs and an elevator, and then into an expansion of the north head house at the Assembly T station. And we've asked for others to participate in that as well. But Matt's commitment early on was that if DCR works on the park, if the head house project is completed, our company would be willing to move forward on the bridge portion of the project. So it's a partnership. We are expecting multiple stakeholders to participate because there will be so many beneficiaries to that kind of a project. But we will be there. But all we're asking is that it's a complete project. Is that fair, Matt?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's really, I believe, part of the city's vision to make this a full entertainment region where you can go over to Somerville, you can go over to Assembly, and it's all interconnected, and you have access to the Orange Line. So I know it's really important, Mayor, to you as well.
Great. I think Bob answered that great. As you know, the Northern Bike Strand, if you've seen the Northern Bike Strand, it terminates in a small section of Everett. We're designing the rest of that section. It's behind Michael's Crafts under the Sweetser Circle. That is at 80% design now. We'll hopefully be at construction probably by next spring. That will connect to the gateway connection. And they have committed, I could say, you've committed to build a pedestrian footbridge. And we are working with the City of Somerville, the state, we're talking to the governor, lieutenant governor, secretary. I think there's a strong commitment from the Gaming Commission that they would see this as a positive piece of transportation connectivity. So we feel very confident. Right now, we were just awarded by the Gaming Commission $500,000 to design that head house. Thank you. So I feel that they're very committed to the project. And I know that Encore, Win organization is also feels very strongly because you can get off at Assembly Row and come right over to the site, you know. And also for people on Sunday, Wellington Station is actually probably a quicker walk over to the site because we'll be opening that connector, the ECR connector, the out portion, to get over to the Sunday morning. So.
Could we get an estimate of the?
Okay.
Could we get an estimate of the first week's attendance?
As a public company, we typically don't put out information until it's put out by the state. So we will continue just as we do in Macau. And by the way, our chairman of Win Macau Limited, Alan Zeman, flew in from Hong Kong to be with us here today.
Quick question.
Bruce, do you have a question?
I do. I went back and listened to the pitch that Win made to the Gaming Commission back in 2014. And one of the points that they made was, we're going to be focused just on this property. We don't have a Connecticut property to worry about it, because obviously you were competing against the Connecticut casino. It seems like the transportation is sort of west and north. Are you going after the Connecticut market aggressively? What impact are you going to have on the casinos there?
I do think that there will be an impact because, as you know, a lot of the Connecticut market is actually Massachusetts. And so, I think that this, clearly our facility, I believe, is superior, and the location and the service we believe will be 5-star. One thing that I don't want to be lost in this, though, is we are in the business of tourism. And so we believe that our company will be able to attract significant international tourism because people, as Bob pointed out, are really interested to come to Boston. This is a great tourist destination, and we have great relationships and marketing offices around the world. We actually have some of our Far East players checking in next week because they have to come and check it out. And so we're focused on the region for sure, but we're really focused on the planet. And I think that we'll be able, because Boston is such a terrific tourist destination, to be much more global.
Hi. So some of the test night attendees mentioned how beautiful it was, but they also mentioned that there was food running out during test nights. So I was wondering what some of the takeaways were from test nights to make sure that this is, in fact, a flawless opening.
Well, there's a long checklist. When you build 3 million square feet and employ 5,000 plus people and try to open it all at once, if you think about it, no businesses do that. Most businesses start off and ramp up and grow as they grow, not these. You open and you go from 0 to 100. So we're learning lots of things, from running out of glassware to no bar napkins to the ice machine didn't work to you name it. But in terms of problems, there are the least amount of issues here of any opening I've ever been associated with. It's really just operational tweaking, and these properties do ramp. I mean, I think it'll be 90 days probably until it's running like a machine. It'll be great from the beginning, but the Win service standard will be, in about 2 to 3 months. Don't you agree, Bob?
So just a question over here. You kind of touched on it in Connecticut, but you also have MGM out in Springfield. Do you think this is going to impact MGM at all, specifically maybe pulling some people that are in Central Mass?
Bob, do you want to take that?
The MGM property, great property, by the way, in Springfield. We visited many times. I feel like the property is much more of a regional destination. I know they draw heavily from the Hartford market and those areas surrounding it. And I do think that what Matt described earlier is we're looking for a much broader tourism play here. And so I think they're going to continue to do well there, and I think they'll continue to stay very strong in their regional segment. We're actually looking for a little bit different type of market, and so I think we can peacefully coexist. They're friendly competitors, and they run a great operation. Thank you.
Yes.
We got to see a lot of the high end on the casino end, a lot of the higher end gaming areas. What about the lower end? How much, like the penny slots and things like that? How much of that will be here? Secondly, is there a dress code?
So there are, you know, of the more than 3,000 slot machines, there are lots and lots of penny slots. They're actually quite popular, and believe it or not, the average wager on a penny slot is well over $1 because people like to play with credits. But there's lots of opportunities. This casino will have something for everybody. In terms of a dress code, we do not strictly enforce dress codes in any of our properties. You know, I think that people come here will feel comfortable, and you know, we clearly cater to the higher end segment, but everybody is invited. When you're in Las Vegas or here or in Macau, we usually receive between 15 to 25,000 people a day. Wynn is open to everybody. Bob, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, and I think Matt brings up a very good point. We're open, we're welcoming. However, you do notice that in the property there are some very fine dining restaurants. And I think, you know, we see this in all the resorts that we have. Normally, if somebody makes a reservation in a fine dining restaurant, they want to feel good about themselves and they dress appropriately. But if somebody just happens to be walking in off the Harbor Walk and they're out for a stroll, they're going to come in and they'll be casual in shorts and then just enjoy it. So I think it really does work for everyone, and I think the guests actually figure it out based on their own itinerary. But good question, Seth. Thank you.